Logan Paul is WWE's greatest signing. Ladies and gentlemen, I reckon this one is gonna bother quite a few people, for better or for worse. But at minimum, I simply ask that you hear me out and let me cook on this one, because frankly, I think I've got a point. If you go on to enjoy this video or the ensuing discussion this will innately cause, it would help me out tremendously if you consider leaving a like on this video, and if this video hits, let's say 500 likes, I'll make a video discussing who I believe is WWE's worst signing. So be sure to subscribe for that so you're notified when it's out. All that said, let's talk about the Maverick, the social media megastar, and the WWE's greatest signing. Right, so across the last decade or so, the WWE roster, as well as method for acquiring and training new stars to join said roster, has been a process which has been changed dramatically. For a while there, the main influx of talent coming from NXT were indie guys from across the world, which has absolutely produced and brought in some great stars like Damian Priest, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Gunther to name a few. However, the more modern and recent approach the WWE has been implementing in the pursuit to carve out the next generation is essentially taking in great athletes to the Performance Center, doing tryouts, and seeing who among them is coachable. This has been more recently displayed on WWE's newer TV show, funnily enough called WWE Next Gen, which essentially seeks to place bets on a wide cast of people looking to be WWE stars in hopes that they potentially find some brand new megastars. Think of it like playing roulette and putting a couple of bucks on a bunch of different numbers to see if you get a return on that investment. On occasion, this can pay out huge with stars like Tiffany Stratton coming in with basically zero wrestling ability, and now she's in the WWE women's title scene just a few years later. Now to focus back on Logan, his case is a little different to Tiffany's. Rather than being scouted as an athlete, he was essentially scouted because he's one of the biggest internet personalities in the world, debuting as a part of a segment with Sami Zayn, where he would bear witness to Sami's documentary, which was about the conspiracy that the WWE was holding Sami Zayn down. I bet you forgot about that gimmick, huh? Paul would hesitantly show up to support Zayn by being ringside for his match against Kevin Owens at WrestleMania 37, where after the match, Logan celebrated alongside Owens for beating Zayn, only to be given a stunner by the prize fighter in return. In that moment, Logan sold it basically to perfection, and this would funnily enough be the first time we saw him be involved in a physical capacity in WWE. However, I bring this up to remind you that he didn't come into this whole thing with any experience, no prior training, and similar to that of Tiffany Stratton. Even still though, he managed to deliver pretty well in segments assigned to him, and generally speaking, understood the business of pro wrestling. This understanding is something most of us fans think we have. But until you're really there doing it, being trained, and being told what works and what doesn't by pros, you're kinda just assuming. Like, when I was training as a wrestler, I came in assuming I knew how the business worked, and let me tell you, I was very quickly humbled by my own lack of knowledge. I personally struggled with the idea of being coachable, which I mentioned before in regards to Logan, but didn't fully explain what that means. Being coachable is essentially coming in as a barren canvas, or as someone open to being taught everything and assuming practically nothing. It's always considered a bonus if you have acting chops or improv capabilities, but between the ropes, when you get into this hobby, you have to accept that you really know nothing. Doing anything else can lead to you hurting someone else or hurting yourself. Such as when later on during Logan's crown jewel match against Roman Reigns, he actually suffered a concussion because he forgot to tuck his head. In fairness to him though, that sort of thing does also just happen from time to time when you're doing this, but it was a coachable moment where after the match, even Roman literally told him to remember to tuck his head into his chin when taking a bump. Since that match, by the way, he has been completely injury-free, and this is once again because he is and has remained coachable. I know I've said the word like 6 times now in this video, but it really makes a world of difference in wrestling. And that ability almost by itself is exactly why he's even excelled as an athlete outside of wrestling. He of course did amateur style wrestling in high school, and did boxing more recently to varying degrees of success. My point is, he knows how to apply himself to something when he wants to do it, and that's a massive skill to have. And moreover, he's competitive, meaning that he has the will and drive to do it at a very high level in pursuit of being the best he can. Now, I bring this all up as reasoning as to why Logan has proven to be an incredible signing in ring-wise. However, that's all very supplemental if I'm being completely honest. See, the world of video entertainment has changed a lot in the last 20 years, to the point where TV ratings are nowhere near as relevant as they once were. And what matters more is the age of online content via streaming services and social media. WWE even tried to get ahead of the curve on this when launching the WWE Network all those years ago, simply because they've recognized the value that digital content has. And where Logan Paul fits into all of this in the WWE machine is just the same as the Cyndi Laupers, Mike Tysons, and all the other celebrities of past eras. He's meant to help attract this generation to the product. And see, while Vince McMahon is certainly not a good person, he is rather business smart, and pursuing Logan Paul as a WWE signing was arguably the last great thing he ever did as head of the company. Just a single appearance drew millions of online eyes to the WWE product, and while that may not have translated to better TV ratings, that simply comes down to the fact that the younger generation doesn't watch TV. Instead, the segments he'd be a part of would be aired on sites like Twitter and YouTube and be seen by millions that way, leading to more demand for space on their shows to plug their TV show or movie or serial or whatever else. Cody Rhodes is the spokesperson for Wheatley Vodka now, and it's hard not to imagine that the influence of Logan Paul as well as the greater growth of the WWE conglomerate isn't to thank for things like that happening. Also, I'm not implying that he did it by himself, because of course WWE has been doing this for years, but I do think Logan has had a great impact on the overall business of the WWE. See, stars raise the stock of a show or movie all the time. Think of the number of mid-performances The Rock has put on during his movie career. It's because he is simply a star, and there's a reason he was and likely always will be called for different castings, even if he goes on to ruin Marvel next. Who am I kidding? It's been downhill since Endgame. Anywho, back to my point, which is that Logan is that star in WWE right now. And to further back my own point about how WWE sees him as a valued asset that can bring eyes to their brand, all you have to do is look at that United States Championship around his waist. He's been incredibly consistent as an on-screen talent, and has carried the US title around outside of the WWE as something of a walking billboard for the company. Plus, despite the US title being a mid-card championship, the WWE has never been particularly quick in throwing a title belt on a celebrity. Well, aside from the 24/7 championship, but that doesn't really count. Beyond that, he even beat a legitimate Hall of Fame talent in Rey Mysterio to win the US championship. If that doesn't say that the WWE understands the immense amount of value they have with Logan Paul, then I don't know what does. Oh wait, I do. Prime hydration. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it tastes great or say that I even like it, because frankly, I don't. The only kind of okay flavor is the blue one, and even then I'd rather have basically anything else. Anyway, yeah, Prime is pretty massive whether you like it or not, and the brand sold over $10 million worth of the stuff just last year. And having one of the founders of the drink as one of WWE's top performers was almost always going to lead to some kind of sponsorship or a deal being made between them. And of course, that ultimately came to be realized on SmackDown during the lead up to WrestleMania 40, where we all saw and collectively winced in horror at the sight of the Prime bottle crisscrossing the center of the ring canvas. Oh, the terrors of advertising. In all honesty, I actually barely even noticed it after the first few WrestleMania matches with it. Well, until they kept doing top-down shots of it, and it was clear they were doing so probably as a part of their contract with the brand. However, this space being accommodated on the ring was a clear sign that for better or for worse, times were changing in WWE. Gone now are the days of a clean and pristine ring, and frankly, it's pretty likely that this Prime bottle is only the first of its kind. So be ready to see brands like Subway and games like Fortnite on the ring canvas before long. I'm largely kidding, but could you imagine? Anyways, between his raw coachability, actual in-ring talent, the eyes he brings to the product, and finally his branding and affiliation with the drink Prime, it's safe to say that at least in terms of business, Logan Paul might just be WWE's greatest signing ever. But what do you think? Do you hate that stupid Prime bottle? Do you care? And do you think Logan Paul does the buckshot lariat better than Hangman Adam Page? Let me know in the comments down below, and hey ho, while you're headed down that way, it would help me out immeasurably if you consider leaving a like on the video, as well as subscribe for more videos like this one in the future. For now though, I think I'm gonna go Photoshop a WWE ring canvas with a battle bus on it, so as always, I hope you stay safe, and that was Dylightful.